Well, interesting times are here. Of course, let's get started to look at some of the, trending stories now. I've been joined by Mr. Charles Fakroha. He's a stockbroker and, of course, business analyst. Thank you for joining us on the program today. Where do we start from? You have a lot of stories on your table now.
Well, the Monday morning.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at the high unemployment rates.
Oh, okay.
Because, you can look
that's
at
number one now.
Unemployment rate. I mean, you can link it to insecurity in the country, and I'm so happy that it is even the government body that is acknowledging that
It's an unemployment rate.
Unemployment situation in the country. And they're talking about over 23 million Nigerians.
That's
are
right.
Unemployed. Now, that is a very huge concern, because with this kind of unemployment, the security implication of what we are saying, we shouldn't be surprised. But the amazing thing about this is they're even saying there are vacancies. There are vacancies, and the issue is these unemployed youths or Nigerians don't have that requisite skills to
fill those gaps, those vacancies.
It's frightening. And for me, I am not surprised, being somebody who has been in business for quite some time, and even in training, you will see that somebody is coming for, I'm not justifying the unemployment rate.
All right.
Somebody is coming for unemployment, and by the time you interview, you discuss with this prospective applicant, you will see that they don't have any skill. They don't even know what they are coming to do.
Just a moment. I mean, we'll get to that. I would look at, of course, what's the cause? Is it the school system, the education system in Nigeria? What again can be done to address that? And again, if you're looking at requisite skills or the appropriate skills to fill a vacancy, what are those skills? We'll talk about that in a moment. But let's look at it from the angle of government.
Okay.
They say, yes, there is vacancies. There are vacancies,
yes,
but these vacancies are not in private sector. They are in government, parastatals.
Yes.
Because that's what the story is saying.
Okay.
The question is, now, if we have vacancies, now what does it take to fill those vacancies, and where are these vacancies? Because at least out of the 23 million Nigerians or youth, we should have people within this circle, within this number, a chunk of people who can fill those gaps.
I agree with that. Yes. So the issue now is, how do we identify this set of Nigerians who can fill those vacancies? And that is where accountability comes in. People should be employed based on merits and skills, qualification. I agree with you, yes. These 23 million Nigerians, you also have Nigerians in that list who are even overqualified, who also have over-skill in some of these areas. I have seen a situation where a company calls for employment, a government parastatal, that what they want is ONG holders. But I saw graduates, BSc holders who applied for that job. And by the time they conducted the interview, in fact, the team said, there was a particular person, they said, Oga, we cannot interview you. We don't think it is OND that you have. And of course, further analysis, they found out that young man has a master's degree. So you can see that Nigerians are even ready just to put down their qualification to get this job done. Because the employment situation is so bad that we are now encouraging people to learn skills. Somebody has gone to read mass communication. There are no media house. That particular graduate is qualified, has done some internship somewhere, has that requisite experience, but the media houses
because
are not there.
It will seem like the government is even indicting itself.
Of course, yes.
And looking at the fact that you say there are 23 million Nigerians, and again you say there are also vacancies to be filled, but there are no requisites. So does it mean that out of the 23 million Nigerian youth, no one is qualified? Maybe the government will have to come out to give us explanation.
Before you even run up, even at that, if you say they are not qualified, what happens to training and retraining? I can get a young graduate from university. University education for me is just like a refinery to refine that graduate. When you come, you start to learn afresh. So they should have that kind of scheme. That's why you see the private sector, they have graduate training scheme.
That's right.
Just get any qualification, And come, we will train you.
Let's move quickly to the area of, the system, the educational system that we have here now. If you look at the curriculum, where do we need to address this issue of, yes, it's a graduate, but he's unemployable.
Okay.
Yes.
He's unemployable.
Yes, he's unemployable. That means he doesn't have the requisite skills.
To be employed.
So, yes, to be employed. So where do
Anywhere.
Anywhere. So where do we even address it? Is it the school system? I mean, because if you look at the curriculum, after 4 years, I mean, you get out there, you start searching. Sometimes you become useless, even to the society and to yourself at the same time.
But first of all, even to yourself, because you will feel it. But again, I would not agree and say the school curriculum is totally out of place. I agree, yes. They can be reformed, improved to meet current trends. But with due respect, take somebody who read philosophy. What sort of skill do you want him to have?
I mean, there are places that people like that can.
And it comes to maybe you want to apply for a marketing job. The thing is, for you as the employer, or government or private sector, is to have a scheme where as they come in fresh, you train them. And they learn on the job. You can't say, okay, an engineer comes in, a civil engineer, you now expect him to design a bridge. He has to go through a training, learning on the job. So it is left for the government to collaborate, even private sector, with the universities. As soon as these graduates are out, they should have a form of internship, a form of apprenticeship, as the case may be. So that you can't just tell me all the graduates, the university system is bad. Is it? No, I will not agree with that.
Maybe we should even look at the NYSC issue, which of course 1 year you have to serve. I mean, if that 1 year can be looked into and say, okay, can we convert that 1 year to, a period of internship for training?
Of course.
Where after 1 year, of course, you can become qualified, have the necessary skill. Maybe we should start talking about that.
And I'm very sure that's part of the NYSC scheme. Because I know there are career talks. They invite various professionals to come and talk to them. They will teach them certain skills. You learn certain skills. But again, the only one that is really frightening me is you tell me a graduate cannot write a simple application letter. I will not agree with that. Yes, but some HR people have told me they see a lot. But
I think this conversation is something that we cannot wrap up.
We cannot wrap up. Honestly,
anyway,
we can't.
But of course, it's something we'll continue to talk about.
Exactly.
Now, let's move to the next story, which talk about the fact that it's also about the crude oil theft. I mean, the Director General of Budget Office talking about Bernard Kaboeji, stating that joint ventures are bleeding the most as a result of rising crude oil theft. That is, those who partner maybe with indigenous companies or
with federal government.
Or the federal government, perhaps are not making as much as they invested as well. I mean, this is coming from the Budget Office.
Yes, it's very scary. Because, and again, it's also a good development because at least the government officials are realizing some of this problem. And of course, they know the implication for revenue generation. If they did not say it is the oil companies that are even bleeding more, I will not even agree with that. The government is also bleeding. Because if we are supposed to get 10 naira and we are getting 5 naira, we are bleeding also. Even if the oil companies are getting they are supposed to get 10 naira, they are getting 5 naira.
But can we say the reason why some of these IOC, that's international companies are divesting, their investment as well recently?
Yes, because for any investor, you can't be in an environment where it's not conducive for you. It's not. They are not Father Christmas. They want to put in their capital, their resources, their investment to get a return. And if at the end of the day, because of the oil theft, they are bleeding so much, what do you expect? They will divest. And that's what we have seen so far from some of these IOC. But again, let's look at the fundamental. What is responsible for this oil theft? Is it that the government cannot curtail it? Is that the government cannot provide enough security for that sector? Or the government cannot monitor and identify who and who is involved in this shady business and bring them to book? Then the government, for me, is self-responsible.
Maybe, perhaps this is an indictment on government itself, because if you say there's oil theft, you keep coming out with a report every day, every now and then, then of course you should tell us why, because you are in charge. You are supposed to give an account.
To provide
what's happening, to provide
yes.
securities and track, give us figure what is happening. But here we are again. But let's move to the next story, which talk about the over 400 billion naira that just been, budgeted as a conditional cash transfer, as it's called. For you have trader money there. You have the one that went for, government enterprise and empowerment program. You have a lot of, what do you call it, farmer money. Yes, just call it conditional cash transfer as well. Now, over 400 billion. Now, has this been able to address the intended objective of why it was set up in the first place? Because when President Buhari was coming in, he promised that over every year they are going to be budgeting 500 billion naira for it's a situation like this. Yeah, we've witnessed that, but
and
has it really
achieved over 100 million Nigerians from poverty?
But has it really, in your assessment, has it really, addressed the core intention?
Well, if you ask me, and my own opinion, critically looking at this issue, I would say the government has not been able to achieve that objective. Yes, the intentions are there, but it is the implementation of some of these projects. We're talking of poverty reduction. And today, how you as government, you want to reduce poverty, but indirectly you are inflicting poverty. Because if you, energy crisis, people used to buy certain domestic gas, the price has gone up. They don't even have access to transportation, access to energy poverty. So you are talking of reducing poverty, but your actions and what you are doing is inflicting poverty on the average Nigerian. 400 billion is a huge sum of money, but I will tell you, personally, I have not seen the impact of that. Yes, you will see some few persons will tell you, oh, I have a lot, conditional transfer, the transfer, this, that, but it has not translated to the majority of the average Nigerians.
Because, I've seen reactions where some people say, no, instead of giving out this cash, because if you look at it, cumulatively we have over 400 billion, right, isn't it? But if you look at it, the amount that goes to individuals, sometimes 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, as it were. And so some people have criticized the fact that why do you have to even give cash? Why not create an empowerment platform where people can get empowered, and then they can in turn, if you give them a little, they can in turn, as much as little as it is, they can at least translate it and convert it into something significant. But perhaps this is not the case here.
Yes, but again, one would not totally condemn the cash transfer. The woman who sells corn, maize at the roadside, if you look at all what she's doing, total asset of that business, 20,000, 30,000.
Right.
And you give it to her, she makes use of it very well. She will increase her capacity. That is poverty reduction. Now, creating that enabling environment for, is also very good. But so the government has to look at it from different approach. But again, the government officials, implementation of this, are we sure these monies will not be diverted to other areas? That is, for me, is a major problem of this current government. The intentions are good, but the implementation of some of these their plans, that is where they begin to interrogate.
Now, finally, on that note, let's look at how we can, policies or initiatives that you think are sustainable in this condition, in this scenario, that we can actually, look at, apart from just giving cash, doing a conditional cash transfer, or giving money to farmer and all of that.
Yes, there are a lot of ways that can be done in terms of policy issues. Organized, but first of all, accountability is key. If a particular government official is in a local government or a particular area, let us see the names and addresses of people that are beneficiaries of these monies. Then over a period of time, let's monitor them and let's see the progress. These monies are, from my own understanding, is not a Father Christmas money. They're expected to pay back so that the government can also now give to other people. So monitoring of the persons that are beneficiaries. If you ask the government now, or you are published in maybe Kosofe local government, those persons
How many people have benefited, from that
Let's
local
see
government?
their name, their addresses, and all that, and we can even begin to talk to them. Would they be able to provide those data? As I say, accountability is key for any government policy or program to succeed.
Let's leave it there. Okay, let's take a look at the last story here now, which talk about the plan increase. Talking about the telcos who have been planning to increase the prices of calls, SMEs, you
And
have
even
data,
data.
and all of that.
Yes.
For instance, SME is now going to be 5 naira or 61 kobo.
Okay.
I mean, for calls, I mean, that around 6 naira will now be again increased as well. So it's more like, for instance, price floor of calls will increase from 6 naira, 4 kobo, 40 kobo to 8 naira, 9 kobo. That's around 10 naira. You know,
Yes.
That's more like I don't know how to put that, but then of course I understand that the NCC is saying, look, prepare for this, but of course
It might not be in the short
it might not be
term.
it might not be
But obviously it's
yes,
going to come.
it might not be now, but
Okay.
prepare for this.
Frank, you and I, we make calls, we send SMS, and we use data. And we must also be fair to the telecom operators because their operation, the business environment, in fact, the environment is not conducive. Like I used to say, they maintain their marks and they use a lot of diesel. You know, me and you know where diesel price has gone. Even for them, access to Forex to even purchase some of these equipment is not even there. So if I'm in that sector, I'm a businessman, as much as I want to provide service, I also want to make profit to meet my overheads. But if the government cannot provide that enabling environment, then the only way for me to meet my costs and, of course, be in business, make some profits, is to increase my pricing. I'm not saying, yes, they should increase immediately, but I think it's long overdue, my own opinion. But again, I'm also happy with what NCC is doing, preparing Nigerians that, look, this is the realities on ground. And again, it's good for all the stakeholders to come and agree and see how this increase, so that at the end of the day, that increase will not become a problem to the consumers of these telecom sectors.
If you look at it, I mean, when you look at the household spending has gone up. I mean, salary is still the same.
Okay.
Right. These are people who are earning more than 30,000 or 50,000.
Yes.
Is the case may be.
Yes.
I mean, so it's perceived that this will impact negatively
Of
on
course.
spending. So it means that apart from the fact that they are also going to benefit, talking about the operators going to
Yes.
benefit, it will impact on their bottom line.
Of course.
We also need to look at the other side, because how many Nigerians can afford a meal a day? Not to talk of buying airtime or getting a data on your phone as well. I think we also need to look at that aspect as well.
I agree with you 100%, Frank, that yes, it's going to impact on the average Nigerian in terms of their consumer spending. Yes, and you have said something. Salaries have remained stagnant for God knows how long. So how is the average Nigerian consumer of these telecom services going to, moving forward? It's very simple. Tighten your belts. If you used to make so much calls every day, reduce how long, how often you're on your phone. You can do more of text messages, which is cheaper. I'm just saying, these are just ways consumers can
to cut down
your telecom expenses.
Don't you think it will impact on the amount, the bottom line? Because if I used to make call like 10 naira or 20 naira or 15 naira in a day, because I'm conserving or I'm trying to work on my budget, I will reduce it to 20 naira.
Of course.
So that again, the operators lose.
Okay, but you now see that these are services that we need it. We need to communicate, no matter how expensive they have become. So it's for every consumer now to work on a budget and say, for telecoms, this is how much I'm going to spend. Because if you see the way some people talk on the phone.
Right.
31 hour you're on the phone. These are some information that you can just convey by there, maybe WhatsApp or text message and all that. So it's for us to become conscious, especially the average consumer. We'll go back, draw a budget, and see how you can live within your budget in terms of your spending for telecom services.
I think we'll have to leave it there. It's Charles Fackrover. It's a stockbroker and business analyst. Thank you for coming on Business Breakfast.
Thank you for having me, Frank. Enjoy your day.
You too.